Okay, one last thing we're going to do in 5.3. 5.3. Okay, remind me, sine of theta when I'm not on the unit circle.
Over with x over.
You gotta find the radius.
No, it's y.
Y over r.
R.
So the y coordinate over the radius. Cosine,
X
if
over
I'm not on the unit circle, is the x coordinate over the radius. The tangent of theta is y over x. And then from there we can do the reciprocals, but I just want to remind you about those things first, okay? So what we're going to do today, I think there's just one example like it. Maybe there's two. Example 5 in the book. It's kind of combining the last two types of problems that we did. They're going to give us a sign of something, and they're going to give us one value, and then we have to find the other. So it's just combining things that we've already done. It's not really new information. So if I tell you that I know the sine of theta is 1/3, and I know the cosine of theta is less than 0, we need to find the other 5. We know the sine is 1/3. We need to find the other 5. Okay? The sine is 1/3 and the cosine is negative. So first of all, rough sketch here. If the cosine is negative, that means I'm over here, right? I'm in one of these quadrants. And if the sine is positive, then I'm going to be up here in quadrant 2, right? Okay. Okay, so right here, look back right here. This is why we wrote this down. The sine is y over r. So in my point, I know that y is 1. I know the radius is 3. Let's just check for a second though. If I'm over here in quadrant 2, does it make sense that the sign would be +1, or should I make it -1?
Positive.
It's going to be +1. I'm going to go negative, then positive. So that is a +1. How am I going to find that other value?
The cosine, since it's less than 0, you know it's going to be negative.
It is going to be negative.
But it's also over 3.
It's also going to be over 3 when I set the ratio up. But how do I figure out what this x coordinate is? Pythagorean theorem. And this time, I know the radius. So it's going to be x squared plus 1 squared equals 3 squared. So before we were finding the radius, most of the time now we're going to know the radius and we're going to find either x or y. So 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9, subtract 1, take the square root, the square root of 8, which is 2 square root of 2. So 2 square root of 2 is the x coordinate, as weird as that is. Okay, so we know the sine. Now we can come up with the cosine. The cosine is going to be what? Well, actually, does this need to be positive or negative? Go back to this right here. It's going to have to be -2 square root of 2. So the cosine is -2 square root of 2 over 3. Yes? The tangent is y over x. So the y is 1. The x is -2 square root of 2. That has to be rationalized. I'm going to pull my negative out front. So that is square root of 2. On the bottom, a lot of people on the quiz, if you missed a point on some of these questions, this is what happened. What is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? 2. But don't forget about this 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So here's my tangent. You see how this is nothing new once I show you how to get it started? Once you find your radius and figure out your signs, it's not anything new. Cosecant. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so that's going to be 3 over 1, which is 3. The reciprocal of the cosine is secant. So I'm gonna have -3 over 2 square root of 2, which of course has to be rationalized. 2 times 2 is 4. And then finally, the reciprocal of tangent is cotangent. So if I flip this upside down, what's going to be easier? If I flip this upside down, I'm going to get -2 square root of 2.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Go back up to the top. And so say the sine theta is equal to 2 over 3.
Mhm.
That would change your y to 2. And so then would that change like the whole problem basically?
Yes, everything. Okay, this next one, I'm not going to do the whole thing because you guys know how to do it. We'll just wait a minute. Is that okay? You won't mind, will you?
No, we'll do it.
That quiz is not in there. And then that test hasn't been
Hey,
graded yet.
on the test.
I don't remember what it is. I'm trying to figure out what I need to make on this next test. Because I just realized we need to see in here. 'Cause it's a big
Those tests, I'm gonna grade 4th block, so those will go into, you'll have a better idea. Cause without that stuff in there,
Let's go.
I don't, you talk about like the sign, or the
Yeah.
sign code.
go.
I'm coding. There were a few that I
Did you faith in me?
Wait, is that?
Said you probably not listening.
You know what happened?
Is there anything that I don't know? Maybe I haven't.
There's a 0 in for a notebook right there. You may have turned it in and it may be in my stack to grade.
Okay, because,
The trig notebook.
yeah, I turned that,
It may be over there for me to grade.
okay. But what else I really change my grade?
Well, a 0, yeah,
Oh,
it will some. Cause if that's not in there, well, 64,
which I had a 6, what did I have anyway?
62.
So it's 2.
Let me get those in later today and you'll have a better idea.
Because I'm trying to think, cause like, if I get a C on, if I achieve like a C on this test and a C on the final, like, what I need to get is like an average, a C for.
It's gonna have to be better than a C. If you want a C average
Yeah,
and you're at a
so-
D, you're gonna have to get better than a C.
Yeah. Well, maybe not on this test, you probably get a B on this test.
We can crunch some numbers and we'll put that in later today. Oh gosh, I've been recording this whole thing.